Good morning, everybody. Laura here, and today I've got 1970s Coronet Super 12, and this uses a Coronet cartridge, and we're going to take a look at it. This is one of those typewriters that, for me personally, my personal recommendation, and not everybody's going to agree, is I like to recommend these typewriters for crafters, for homeschoolers, or people who just, they want like a starter typewriter. They're more affordable. They're a lot easier to use. It kind of just breaks you into the typewriter world. And then you kind of, so you can kind of get used to kind of, who you are and how you interact with typewriters before you go and invest in something that's going to be a little bit more expensive. While these type very well, I don't recommend them for writing books. I mean, you could use them for that. But for me, they're just, if you're going to write a book, you're going to want to find that typewriter that really works with you and that you can get into a flow that kind of has the personality of what you're going to be writing about. There's just, you talk about the X factor or the it factor, whatever. There's just that intangible, abstract element of writing that when it comes to choosing a typewriter to write a longer project or something like that, you really want to find something that works with you. I have different typewriters that I use for different purposes. And yes, technically they could all serve the same purpose, but each one has its own unique personality. And so that's why I say this isn't one I would recommend if you're going to be writing a book. I just wouldn't. But if you're getting started in the typewriter world, definitely recommend it. Get your feet wet. Something like this is affordable. The Coronet cartridge is super easy to change in and out. You just press the side button, cartridge comes out, pop it back in, and yes, you can get more cartridges. We keep them in stock on our website at jotandtittletypewriters.com. This has a longer carriage, which I like for crafting, because sometimes I'll grab a paper bag that I've torn up, and it could be a big chunk of paper, and I can throw it into an electric with a 12-inch carriage and type some things on it. And that's why I say I recommend these for crafters. And I always use an electric for crafting. I don't know why, I just do. That's what I go to. But anyway, and then for kids, these are really hardy typewriters. So if you have little ones and you want to get a typewriter for your kids, this is a great one. One, it's super easy because it's electric, and so the keys are very easy to manipulate, and it can handle a little bit of extra attention. And they're not as expensive as some of the older ones. So that's my reasoning behind that. Let me take this out and show you the font on this. This one has a really tiny font. I haven't measured it, but at the very minimum, it's a 12 CPI. It could be 13 because it's really small, but it's nice and clear and even. I really like it. If you really just, this is your budget, this is what you can afford, and you really want to type a book, then yeah, go for it. The nice thing about this smaller font is you'll be able to get more lines on a page, more words on a page. So I guess whatever floats your boat. But this video, I'm going to go through and show you how to use this in case you have one, getting one and you're not sure how to use it. So firstly, the Coronet Super 12 is all electric. It must be plugged into the wall. Electric typewriters do have, for us, it's harder to repair them. You have to know a little bit more about mechanical things. There's more things that could go wrong. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's why I personally I have one, but I hardly ever use it. I have an old IBM Selectric. Some of you know what those are. But these Super 12s actually type very, very well, and I do love the cartridge. The one thing about the cartridge is it's just one color, black only, but you just pop it in and out. So it is super, super easy to change, and it's not messy. And what did I just do? I just did something. There you go. Okay, so once you've got it plugged in, you turn it on right here. Okay, and you can let hear the motor running. I always give them a few seconds to run on my electrics. Kind of just, you know how you get up in the morning and you need a little bit of time to get all of your gears running. I usually give them a few seconds there. And then you can load your paper right behind this this little plate here. Behind it, you're going to see your paper holder, and this is your margins. So right now I have them really small to match my paper. In fact, I'm going to scoot them over a bit. But if you have a bigger piece of paper, you can certainly bring those margins out. The other thing I've done is I write my letters all on statement size papers, which is a half sheet. So I use the paper guide, which is this little silver tab, which it's probably on your typewriter. It's probably pushed all the way over to the left, and just take that and come in and put it where you want. And that way, like when I type letters, I use that guide to know where to load my paper and keep it lined up so that the pages are all, the margins are all lined up on each page, is what I'm trying to say. Over here on the right side, you have a paper release. You just pull that forward, and then you could just pull your paper out, or if you threaded it and it was uneven. So what I do is I come up and I'll see if the two edges touch and are even. This one's just slightly off, but sometimes you'll load it and it's like this. And so you just bring that forward, get it lined up, and then make sure it's re-engaged. Now this is your carriage. Like I said, this is a 12-inch carriage. The standard is 10, but this is a little bit longer carriage. And to move the carriage, there are levers on each side. Doesn't matter which one you use, but you just pull that lever in and that carriage will automatically pull to the left, but you can push it either way you want. One thing about electrics is I've got my wonderful coffee mug here. You do not want to put it near your carriage. I have broken a mug or two because you go to hit your return, or you know, what's happened to me is I went to release my carriage and lost the grip, and it flung and it hit my mug. So you just want to keep mugs and anything breakable, spillable away from your carriage. Okay, so the other thing on the carriages, you'll see a 1, 2, and a 3 over on the left side. That is your line selector. So right now it's on 1, meaning when I hit return, it's going to advance 1 line. If I move it to 2, it'll double line, 3 triple. Okay. Some people like the double and the triple so that they can take notes in between lines, however you want to do that. This little lever up here releases the platen, which is your roller. So when you turn it, you can hear it clicking. And that clicks either half a line or single line. But if you release it, it disconnects that, and it just kind of gives you what's called variable spacing, meaning if you're trying to line something up and it's not quite lining up, then you use this lever, line it exactly where you want it, and then make sure you re-engage it, okay? And the same thing can be done. There is a button on the left side, and you can press that and it does the same thing. And also if you're doing work on your carriage, this actually, you can take your platen out, but that's for those who are doing repairs, and I'm not going to go into that because I don't know enough about it, and you don't need to be taking your carriage off your typewriter. Okay, so the Super 12, you don't take the cover off. It just stays, but inside you'll see your type bars, And then underneath you can see if you've got your Coronet cartridge in there. Again, replacements are on our website. Down here is your keyboard. You've got this middle bar is your tab, your tabulator, and then you have the set and the clear on each side. So if you want to clear, like when we got this had a ton of tabs on it, because that's what people do. They do like set a ton of tabs. I don't know why. But if you hold down the clear and then release your carriage and move it back and forth, and then you release that clear button, that should get rid of all of your tabs. So all of my tabs are gone. Do you see how fast that carriage moves? Anyway, so, and then to set it, put your, put your carriage wherever you want it, hit set, and now you have a tab set. Okay, so that is how you set and clear. If you want to just clear one tab, it's on that tab, hit clear, return, and tab. Let's see if it did it. Yeah, now it cleared it. Okay, so by the way, this one, as you could tell, has a power return, and it is quite powerful. That always makes me nervous. I feel like it's going to fling the whole typewriter off the table. I do recommend, especially for these non-slip typewriter pads, and those are available on our website as well. Okay, so down here you've got your keys. If you hit shift lock, then you can type in all caps. So when your shift is right here, your shift lock, to release the shift lock, just hit shift again. So without the shift lock or shift, it's going to be lowercase and numbers. With the lock, it's symbols. The one thing that I still make mistakes on is if I've got my shift lock on, if I'm typing in all caps and I need to add a number, I forget to take the shift lock off, and I'll look up and my date is a bunch of symbols. So it's not like a computer where your computer will still type numbers if you have your caps on. That's not what's going to happen on a typewriter. Okay, so you have a backspace here. Backspace doesn't erase, but you can either X through, do a line, or type over if you make a mistake. And that reminds me, on the electrics, there are usually 3 keys that have an auto repeat if you hold down, and that's going to be your dash, your X, and your period. So some people who do typewriter art, they use those keys quite a bit. Okay, so then you have your margin release, and that is when you've set your margin, there should be a bell that goes off. There it is. When you get close to your margin, and there's my bell saying, hey, you need to hit your return and go to the next line. But sometimes and you're in the middle of a word or a thought, and your typewriter should stop, and let's say you want to finish it and just go your whatever it is you're typing, you just hit margin release, which is this MR. That should release it, and you can keep typing and then hit the return handle. Over here is your copy set. This really doesn't do anything. It's supposed to adjust the tension on your type bars, making it's gonna type harder or lighter. I don't notice a difference, but you can kind of mess around with that. And but anyway, so that is how you use a Super 12. And I hope this was helpful, and thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.